What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Welcome to your second stimulus check update, stimulus package update, and news report for Wednesday, January 6th. Now, earlier today, we were supposed to witness a confirmation or a challenge of the Electoral College votes in Congress. Well, that didn't happen. However, unfortunately, what happened instead is we saw the Capitol building go on lockdown. That's what we saw. I did a live video earlier today. This is my first live video I've done in months. I did a live video earlier today, kind of reacting to and outlining what we were seeing. Well, after the Capitol building went on lockdown, then it was announced that lawmakers were told to shelter in place, and many were moved to a more secure location, simply because the protesters outside started to break windows and made their way inside the building. Now, what does this mean for stimulus? It actually means a lot. It means a lot for stimulus. And a lot of it is not the best news ever, but it's still something. Many reports are currently saying that these protesters were not only upset about the possible fraud committed during the 2020 presidential election. That's what this whole protest was about. This is the reason why President Trump spoke earlier today. He was just reiterating that this election was stolen from him and the Republican Party. Now, I'm not going to get into that, but some people that were there, according to reports, actually more than some people, but many people were referencing, "Where's my check?" Were referencing the $2,000 promise. They were there not just protesting for Trump, they were protesting against him as well, because he promised a $2,000 check. He promised he would stand up to Congress and provide more relief to the American people. So, what is being said right now is not all these people were pro-Trump. Some were against him, and many were against him. Now, what is actually true behind that? I have no idea. I would anticipate there were pro-Trump supporters, okay, and there were people that were against him. Now, what I can tell you is the majority of the signs mentioned at this pro-Trump rally and this support rally behind him were due to the election steal that he keeps referencing. Now, I can just tell you right now that this is not going to go away. If President Trump does not stay in office, which as of right now, all indications point to that he will not. But what I can tell you right now is if he does not stay in office, this will continue to follow him. What happened today will continue to follow him. The lack thereof, the $2,000 stimulus checks, will continue to follow him. Where he said he would provide $200 checks or $200 discount cards to senior citizens, this is something that senior citizens have not forgotten. This is a stimulus promise that he said we will deliver before the election, and it never happened. It never came to be. Now, what happened during this chaos, mass chaos at the Capitol building today is the state of Georgia. They actually announced that Jon Ossoff won the Senate seat. So they announced this earlier today. And some mainstream media channels actually reported it, saying that he was going to win. But the state of Georgia announced it during this whole chaotic moment. So what we are hearing is that Congress, as of right now, according to Chuck Schumer, that at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Senate should be back in session. As to where they will be, if they will be in the Capitol building or not, we do not know. There are other reports saying that Congress will resume business tomorrow. They will resume their order of business tomorrow. Now, this doesn't indicate whether the House is going to start tomorrow or the House is coming back tonight. But when Chuck Schumer stated that they will be back at 8 p.m. tonight, there's no indication that they're going to resume right where they left off, or if they're going to take up some other order of business. We just don't know that yet, but hopefully we'll find that out soon. So, what we are hearing is they will try their best to certify the election results. Some people, some lawmakers would like to do this. We have been told that they would like to show the world that they can't be bullied and they will continue to restore democracy here in the United States. So if that happens, great. This would be good to get it over with. Because I can tell you right now, according to multiple reports, watching the scenes of what's currently unfolding in Washington, D.C., dragging this out and seeing multiple protests over days or weeks. Again, we only have 14 days. 14 days from today will be January 20th, and that is when Joe Biden will take over. Now, I was watching a thing earlier today where Mike Pence, Vice President Mike Pence, he changed his Twitter picture. He changed his picture. And now it shows Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Now, I don't know if that was someone hacked into his account and did it, or he did it himself, or maybe he changed it. But that was something interesting that I saw. That even before President Trump has announced that, or even concedes the election, which many don't expect him to do, even before this is done, and even before the certifying of the election results, Mike Pence changed his picture. That's a pretty bold statement right there. So, where does stimulus stand at this point? First off, as the Capitol building was being broken into, okay, like I mentioned, the state of Georgia announced that Jon Ossoff won the second Senate seat over Republican incumbent David Perdue. This is huge because this now means Democrats hold the majority in the Senate. Now, what you need to keep in mind is that this transfer of power from Republicans in the Senate to Democrats in the Senate, what we are hearing is that this transfer doesn't actually happen and doesn't actually occur until after January 20th. So, what we are hearing is that we should expect more negotiations. We could expect bills to be proposed, but nothing will actually hit the Senate floor or even really the House until after January 20th. So, according to Chuck Schumer earlier today, before all the protests and all the chaos at the Capitol building, he said passing the $2,000 stimulus checks will be the first thing that the Senate does under his control. That is good. He was very clear and very concise with what he said. Now, what he said about this, he did not mention whether this would be a standalone bill. He was asked 2 times, will this be a standalone bill or will this be accompanied with additional stimulus? He just said that this will be the first thing that they put on the floor. He did not say whether it would be, part of another package. Now, one report indicates that after this whole chaos ensued, that one of the things that was being talked about was, how did the people get into the building? How did they get into the building? How did they pass the barricades? How did they do all that stuff? And how did they get into the chambers? How did people get into Nancy Pelosi's office and write her a letter? How did this happen? Well, what they're saying is the first order of business now should not be $2,000 stimulus checks. It should be to improve the security of the Capitol building. Congress is what currently makes up our laws. They're our legislators. So they have to be secure. They have to be safe. So, did what just happened today delay the $2,000 stimulus check talks? Possibly. It possibly did. So, here's what we can expect regarding $2,000 stimulus checks and even the $600 stimulus checks that we are currently seeing. First, the $2,000 stimulus checks will most likely still be an amendment. However, some are indicating that they would like larger checks. They would like to keep the $600 stimulus checks as is, that own bill, and then create a new bill, not an amendment, and include $2,000 stimulus checks. They are saying this because even with $600 stimulus checks, that many people are standing in food lines waiting for food because $600 just isn't enough. They are getting their cars repossessed because they cannot afford the payments. They are getting credit cards sent to collection because they cannot afford the payments after they racked up the bill simply to get through this pandemic. And some people are just leaving their homes because they can't afford the rent. They know they will never be able to afford any back rent, and they cannot even afford the utilities to keep the lights on, the heat on, and things like that. That's not good. So, an additional $600 with a $2,000 stimulus check is what is currently being talked about. Even AOC, she stated she wants to see recurring monthly survival checks, and multiple people backed her on this. Now, I don't see a monthly recurring stimulus check happening at this point, but I just want to note that it is in the discussions. There are talks about a monthly stimulus check. Bernie Sanders is probably one of those that will bring this back up. But again, $2,000 stimulus checks is currently what we're seeing as the minimum. Before this, even yesterday, we were talking about a minimum of a $1,200 stimulus check. And that would be if Republicans won the Senate. Right now, it's $2,000 is considered the minimum. So if you are looking at this $2,000 stimulus check as a kind of a life-saving amount of money, it could be on the way very soon. As for the $600 stimulus checks, these are still coming out. The IRS has stated they have made multiple mistakes. There have been many issues here. But what you need to know right now is if you do not get your $600 stimulus check before January 15th, which is 9 days away, if you do not receive your $2,000 or your $600 stimulus check, then you must wait and file your 2020 federal income taxes in order to receive this money. Now, a lot of people are very upset by this because they are being told that they will not receive a stimulus check. They will not get a paper check. There will not be a direct deposit. They will not see any money on a Direct Express debit card. They are just being told you're going to have to wait. Now, some are speculating that the IRS is doing this to millions of people in order to delay how much money they're actually printing. Yeah, that's a possibility. I could see the IRS doing that. The government at this point, they can't really be trusted. So, yeah, it's very likely. So, a few people asked earlier today when I did my live stream, which I need to improve upon, and I promise I'll do that. I'll look into that a little bit more. But a lot of people ask, what can we expect coming from the $2,000 stimulus check package? What could we see along with that? Well, earlier today, Chuck Schumer wouldn't say if this would be a standalone bill or not. But a lot of reports are indicating that many lawmakers are calling for a complete package. Let's get this done. Let's get this over with. Let's stop trickling money into the economy. We get a little bit here, and then 5 months later we get another little bit, and then a little bit later we get a little bit more. Let's stop doing that. This isn't working. It's not helping, and this pandemic is never going to get over if that's how we treat it. So, both Democratic leaders are adamant that state and local government funding needs to be a priority. My guess is state and local government funding, along with $2,000 stimulus checks, will be included. As for liability protections, I highly doubt now Mitch McConnell gets any liability protections. If he does get anything, it would be a very small amount. It would be very limited. So, the vaccine distribution must pick up, which will require much more money. And things like rental assistance, unemployment benefits, and nutrition assistance are all considered woefully underfunded. So right now, those are top priorities. Now, I wish I could tell you that, this stuff could be on its way very soon. But what we are hearing, the truth, is that what happened at the Capitol building could actually delay additional stimulus. Also, a few reports indicate that Congress will work quickly to pass another stimulus package, but this will not happen until after January 20th. What we are hearing is that many GOP members are not happy with what President Trump has done, with what he did today. Now, I'm not going to come out there and say it's all President Trump's fault. Do I think he's to blame? Yeah, he has some blame on his shoulders, but who doesn't? Anybody in Congress at this point is to blame. So, what we are hearing is that some are saying that President Trump needs to be reined in. He needs to be maintained for the next 14 days. Even there are reports out there, and Monica Lewinsky, she even retweeted this, saying that Democrats want to impeach President Trump, and there's currently a bill being drafted to get this done. Now, what I can tell you is that in 14 days, President Trump will be out of office. So impeaching him at this point, really all it's trying to do is just hurt him if he does decide to rerun for president in 2024. But at this point, I highly doubt that's going to happen. What I can tell you is Mike Pence at this point would hold the tiebreaker vote in the Senate if they decide to try to impeach him. At this point, I do not see Mike Pence agreeing and passing a bill that impeaches President Trump. I just don't see that happening. That would actually hurt the GOP much more than it's been hurt at this time. So, he will be our president for the next 14 days. So, right now, that is what we know regarding stimulus. That's what we know regarding where Congress stands at this point. I will probably do a video later on tonight to kind of address what's currently happening. I'm trying to wait and see if all this stuff kind of dies down. Right now, we're getting reports where there was one person that was actually killed at this protest. So that's not great. That's not good news. The optics there are not great. I pray for that person, pray for their family. To go to something that was supposed to be a peaceful protest and then your life gets taken away, that's pretty sad. So again, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully, I've been providing you with some updates that will kind of give you an idea of what's currently happening and how we're moving forward. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing if you enjoy these videos, and I'll see you guys on the next one.